Here's what I would do. Number one, I would cap the emission of greenhouse gases. That means everybody, power plants, industry, you will be charged for the pollution you send into the air. By putting a price on that pollution, you create a market, which now means that businesses and entrepreneurs can make money through green technology. And money will pour in, and research and development will go into developing new sources of energy. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two, we set up what's called a renewable energy standard where across the nation we'll say everybody's got to get 25% of their energy from renewable sources, like wind, like solar, like hydrogen, hydrothermal, a whole host of different approaches. But the point is that we set a floor, and that gives, for example, wind companies some stability. They know, you know what, if I invest $1 billion in wind farms, I know I'm going to be able to sell the electricity because they've got to buy a certain amount from wind. So that's number two. Number three, I already mentioned, we've got to increase fuel efficiency standards on cars. I was out at Google, their headquarters in Mountain View, California, and there was a car on display that was parked there, and it's a plug-in hybrid that's getting 120 miles per gallon. I mean, the technology exists right now. The problem is that we haven't invested enough and made it commercially viable because we're making enough of them. And so we have to create it where we say to the automakers, you know, you've got to hit a certain standard. And I'm not asking them to hit 120, but at least get to 40, 45, 50. That's something that we should be able to do fairly soon. That's the third thing. The fourth thing is we're all going to have to change our habits. Conservation of electricity and energy is probably the most important thing we can do, which means that everybody's got to change the light bulbs in their house to get those energy efficient light bulbs. We're going to have to design our buildings differently so that the buildings are more energy efficient. All those steps that we take, you know, unplugging when you charge up your cell phone, taking the plug out after you're finished charging it, all those things add up. And if we can significantly reduce demand on electricity, that will help us not only economically but environmentally as well. Now, just one last point I want to make about this. If we cap greenhouse gases, that means the power plants are going to have to figure out a way to generate electricity more cleanly. They'll probably have to retrofit their plants, and that will cost them money. And what are they going to do whenever something costs a company money? They're going to try to pass it on to the consumer. So I want to be clear that if we are serious about this issue, we will probably see a spike in electricity prices. We've got to protect low-income people, people on fixed income from higher electricity prices. And that's one of the nice things about the cap and trade system. It generates billions of dollars that we can rebate to individual consumers as well as to use on investments in finding new energy sources. Okay?